It is Tuesday, June 17th. It is time to get in the weeds. I am isolated, Jeremy Lambert, with COVID. That is SP3, who hopefully doesn't have COVID, hopefully can't contract COVID through this stream. That would be terrible. We'd all just get sick if that was the case. Uh, SP3, how you doing today?
I'm doing splendid today, Jeremy. Because you know what I love the most out of this world. You've known me long enough to know what I love the most. Being
Being
right.
right. Yep. I knew the answer
and
there.
I
I knew the answer there.
the whole chat should have been saying it too. The chat should have been messaging like SP3 loves to be right. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. But I am feeling for my boy. I was telling him before we went live here. I was like, I was trying to watch In the Weeds, but I can't watch my friends like suffering. Like you could tell you were not well yesterday. You gutted it through. You still scored like 30 points on 10 rebounds, but you were shooting the ball not that well from the field, even though you put up great numbers. So I was feeling for you. So I wasn't surprised when you put out the message that you got the Kung Fu Kenny sickness from the concert and stuff like that. But I hope you're gonna be well. Hope you have a speedy recovery, sir.
So this weekend was terrible, like terrible. I started feeling it on Saturday. Saturday I didn't feel great. Like my cough had kind of returned. As people may or may not know, I have like chronic bronchitis, and like when it flares up, it's really bad. And you'll see me on the show like coughing, having these like coughing spells, and it gets like really bad. Like it's a very heavy, dry cough. And so that started to flare up a little bit on Saturday. I was like, I feel okay. Saturday night was awful. Like that dumb New Japan show was on as well. Like I had full intention to like get up, watch it, cover it, and like enjoy the show. And instead I could not sleep. Like I woke up at 2 o'clock with like a pounding headache. Like my head hurt, my jaw hurt, my teeth hurt, my whole body hurt. Like it was just terrible. And like I couldn't even like enjoy I mean it wasn't much of a show to enjoy, but like I couldn't even like enjoy the show. I was trying to sleep through the show because it wasn't smart of me to try to like watch and cover the show. I wanted
Yeah.
to sleep. I couldn't sleep. Like my whole body hurt too much to sleep. So instead, I tried to watch the show as almost a distraction to just get away from the pain. So I got like
Yeah.
no sleep on Saturday, like absolutely none, because my entire body was in pain. And then Sunday wasn't great. Like I was still having like body aches, and my cough was still not very good. And so I didn't sleep well on Sunday night. And then you saw me yesterday on the show. Like part of it, like I I I wasn't trying to play it up like I'm miserable for the game. Like I was legitimately miserable yesterday during this show. Like part of it was I had very anxious energy about the game and everything, but I like people have seen me. People saw me after game one. I faked very well, like, hey, wrestling's great. And after some other of these games, like, I can play up the bit a little bit. That was not me playing up a bit of I'm miserable
Yeah.
for game five. I was legitimately just miserable yesterday. I felt better yesterday as the day went on. And then the game happened, and Case and Wallace learning how to shoot from three again cured everything for me. But yeah, this weekend was terrible. I feel generally okay right now. Now I'm just man like I've been isolated for so I ended up taking the COVID test yesterday afternoon. Like the wife went out and got like Gatorade and a bunch of food and stuff, and she got a COVID test. She likes just me taking one just so like we know like what's going on, so we have like an explanation, because sometimes it can just be like, okay, did I get the flu? My wife just messaged me, he's like, oh my god, you're doing this show. Like, yeah, what do you mean, why wouldn't I be doing this show? So what I was saying is I've been isolated for like all day yesterday, so like I haven't been able to hang out with the kids. I haven't been able to like hang out with the wife. Like I haven't gone outside or anything. I've just been back here in the room doing nothing. And that sucks. Like the isolation part just sucks. Just like I feel very depressed of just sitting back here doing nothing. Like I've been watching a lot of South Park, just comfort show
Nice.
of just like binge watch South Park. Yeah, and I basically have been like isolating since Saturday, more or less, because I started not feeling well Saturday. But like I didn't know it was COVID on Saturday, so I'd still on Sunday I didn't leave the room too much because I just didn't feel well enough to leave the room. Saturday I would go in and out just because like I felt okay and I felt good enough to at least like I can get up and get myself water. I can get up and get myself food. I don't need, bless my wife, she tries to get me everything. But like I felt well enough to like I could get up and do those things. But yeah, otherwise I've just been back here with no ties to the outside world, and I'm just like, wait, can I like see some people? Can I do something around here? So yeah, that's been my weekend, everybody. That's been my weekend. But I'm here. I'm here to talk wrestling, alleged wrestling. You know,
Always gutting it through.
stuff happened.
He's had like you've had like 4,000 Jordan flu games.
I try. I like. I know I can miss the show, right? It's not like my job depends on me showing up to this show. It doesn't. I know it doesn't. One, I truly enjoy doing this show. Like I enjoy whether it's Joel or SP3. Like I enjoy just hanging out, talking wrestling for a couple hours. I enjoy everybody in the chat. You guys are always very supportive, and I enjoy just bullshitting for a couple of hours. And especially like right now when I haven't spoken to anybody that isn't the wife, and the kids will stay at the doorway and be like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like, "I'm fine," and then they're like, "All right, bye." Like they don't care, you know what I mean? Like they're
They're
like I'm gonna
kids.
sit here. Yeah,
Kids are naturally
exactly.
selfish.
Yeah, it's not only that. It's just like, what are they gonna do? Sit there and talk to me like, "How you doing?" "Oh, I don't feel great." "Oh, that sucks." What else are they gonna do? They want to go play their games and stuff. It's summer break. They
Like
want to go
bye.
play. Yeah, like they want to go play. They don't want to sit here and talk to like their sick stepdad. Like they don't care about that. So again, some of them are very nice. It's, like they will stop. They'll say hi and everything, but they don't care. So yeah, like I haven't like talked to anybody. I talked to my friend Sammer because he messaged last night, and after the game he's like, "Are you too sick to talk?" I was like, "No, of course not. I don't. I could be dying." And over the weekend I felt like I was dying, but like I could be dying. We are talking about this game that happened last night, so that's it. Like that's the only contact to like the outside world that I've had is like a few words to the kids. The wife says like she brings me stuff and does stuff, but even she is like she's not gonna hang around a lot, you know. I don't. She doesn't need to get sick. God, we're
No.
we're screwed if she gets sick. I go down, like all right, we keep moving, life goes on, and everything, but we're screwed if she goes down because she holds everything together. So yeah, I like doing the show because I can talk to other people and interact with other people. Anyway, all that to say, thank you everybody for your kind messages over these past couple of days as people were checking in and hoping I was doing better. I wish I was playing it up more for the game. I feel good about the game last night. I'm now stressed about game 6. We'll see how that goes, but we'll, you know, we're there, SP3. We're a win away.
Right on pace. Right on the pace that I my prediction at the beginning of the series. And I could say this with absolute confidence. This is no box score or watch it or anything. J-Dub had the greatest game of his career last night.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was a virtuoso game. That's one of the best NBA Finals performances I've seen since probably, I want to say, KD back in 2018. I know. I just had to mention that so I can see how well you are really feeling. If you can just insult KD, I know you're somewhat all right. But yes, probably since that
life brought me coffee.
Look at that. The best in the game, in the weeds, general manager. But yeah, he showed out. 40 point, just virtuoso type game. He just took over the game. To the point that freaking Shea having 31, 10, and 6 was the quiet one of the two. He was quiet in comparison to J-Dub just taking over that game last night. And I have some bad news. We might have to check someone's ID in Club Superstar because Tyrese, I don't know.
He's hurt. He's clearly hampered by, I think they said it was a hamstring issue.
He went out early in the game too.
Yeah, he had the limp. Everyone noticed that he had like a slight limp in game after game 2, and then he played great in game 3, so people were just like, oh, he must be fine. Game 4 he wasn't great, and then game 5 he definitely wasn't very good. Like, he's definitely hampered a little bit by that injury. Shout out to J-Dub, man. It was a bad start for him last night. Like, he had a couple of dunks in the first quarter. I'm like, okay. But he was missing everything at the rim. He missed his couple of mid-range shots. And I was like, oh, man, we're going to get like a bad J-Dub game. That's not good. Like, somebody's got to step up. And then I'm not sure he missed after that. I mean, I know he did, but he was so good last night. And the fact that we can get 40 out of him, like, I know he's a good player. He's an all-star. But the all-star voting is like, whatever. Like,
yeah.
They're
Tyrese Halliburton wasn't an all-star this year.
Yeah,
so,
it's like, all right, sure. But he's been hit and miss kind of all season. Like, I know his box score numbers look good, but as someone who watches every game, like, you can tell when he has it going and when he doesn't have it going. And like, his finishing around the rim this year just wasn't as good as it's been in past years. I think he's been dealing with a wrist issue all playoffs as well. He's been wearing a band on his wrist basically every non-game day, and even game day, like during press conferences, he'll have it on and everything. So, but his finishing around the rim just hasn't been as good this year as it's been in past years, and it's something that OKC fans noticed. And it's like, well, he's still like playing really well even without that. But he showed up last night, and he's been great, honestly, since that Game 6 performance against Denver. Like, that was an awful game for him. And he was very good in Game 7. He was great in the Minnesota series. He's been great all this entire series. Like, Game 1 was but Game 1, the whole team just kind of collapsed after in the fourth quarter. But ever since then, like, he's elevated every game since then. I mean, look, if he continues to increase his scoring like he has in every game so far, if he does that in Game 6 and he scores over 40, I feel confident of our chances to win if he's going to give you 40-plus points. But I think we need a big Shea game for Game 6. We need the MVP to show up on the road like he did in Game 5. But more than just, like, the fourth quarter. Like, it'd be nice, like, start to finish. Because we're not going to get good shooting from Wiggins and Kaysen on the road. I just have no faith. And
it was the corner 3, I think, at the beginning of the fourth quarter is when I went to sleep because it was late. It was late for me, so I went to sleep. I saw Shea drive corner, like near the corner for 3 from Wiggins. No, it was a Wiggins in the left hand side. On left hand side, I think at the beginning of the. I think that was either the beginning of the fourth or end of the third. I went to sleep. Okay. I forget. But yeah, he hit that 3 and I was like, all right, I feel good. I can go to sleep and I think I'll wake up and I'll see this. I know you can never count out the Pacers, but it was because the game that Tyrese Halliburton was having and seeing him ailing ailing, and the way he didn't seem like his regular self in that game. So I had confidence going to sleep and believing that I would wake up to Thunder being up 3-2.
The Pacers cut it to 2 in the fourth. Like, they got it down to 2. The Thunder were up 10. They were up 10 with like 11 minutes left in the fourth. I was like, okay, like, we were up 15 with 11 minutes, 11 minutes left in the fourth in game 1. Like, 10 is nothing. TJ McConnell, you know how TJ McConnell's been the bane of my existence this entire series.
TJ McConnell! You're right. I will never forget that rant you had on Friday.
It 15 points in the third quarter. Like, why can't we stop this dude?
Cause he's a certified A-tier white boy. Like, people be sleeping on my dude. He's a certified A-tier white boy, especially in the playoffs. Stop sleeping on TJ McConnell.
I'm not sleeping on TJ McConnell.
I'm talking about the people out there. People out there be sleeping on TJ McConnell. People were questioning why Michael Cole had to wear a TJ McConnell jersey on Monday Night Raw. Is because he's a certified A-tier white boy.
I was like, can we have nobody to stop TJ McConnell? It's supposed to be the greatest defense of all time, and they're getting carved up by a 5-foot white dude. Like, what's happening out here? But the Pacers cut it to 2, and like, it didn't look great. I was like, oh boy, like, I've seen this before. Like, I know how this game goes. Then the biggest plays were Dort hit a 3, and then they screwed up a possession where Halliburton was going backcourt, and I forgot who. I think it was Miles Turner, but Turner was going to throw him the ball there, but then Halliburton cut front court, but they threw it backcourt, and Kaysen got a run out on that, and that pushed it to 7, and then we never looked back after that. Then we forced 4 turnovers on 4 straight possessions, like a couple of Shea steals, a Caruso steal, and we cashed those in for points. I was like, okay, we're kind of okay here. But it's been back-to-back good fourth quarter possessions, or good fourth quarter games from OKC, where game 4 it wasn't looking great, and game 5 was very tight butthole for fans out there. Caruso's been great. He wasn't good last night. He was not good last night. I feel like he missed, or he made like one shot. My complaint with Caruso is every time Indiana turns the ball over, pay attention to this. Every time Indiana turns the ball over and Caruso's running the break off of an Indy turnover, he turns it right back over. I swear it's happened. It happened twice last night, where he's running the break and he's driving and he gets blocked from behind, and then he tries to throw this like ugly looking lob to Chet that turns into a turnover. He had a couple early in the series where he plowed into the Indiana defender and got called for a charge on 2 possessions. Like, I hate when they turn it over and he's the one running the break, because I'm like, oh god, he's gonna turn it right back over. I was like, can you just pass it to somebody else? Or just, I don't know, slow it down and get a good possession out of it, but just stop turning it over right afterwards. I trust he'll actually be good in game 6, though, because I don't trust Kaysen or Wiggins to be good in game 6. Like, they'll play better at home. They've played good. At least Wiggins has played good in 2 of the home games. Kaysen, like, finally showed up for the first time this series.
Hit 3 threes last night.
What's that?
He hit 3 threes last night. I was like, oh, he finally remembered how to shoot.
Oh, I was so happy when Kaysen hit a 3. I was like, oh, thank you for remembering how to shoot. What did I tell you? I don't remember, when one of my times where I was angry about things. The starting lineup. What happened in game 4? What did they do? They went back to the starting lineup that got them there. They changed the starting lineup in game 1 for no reason other than let's try to be smart. Let's try to outthink, and let's try to make them adjust. Like, no. Force them to force you to adjust. The starting lineup that got you there should have been the starting lineup for game 1. And for some reason, Mark decided to change it. and he went with Kaysen over Hartenstein. And look, if they don't blow a 15-point lead in the fourth quarter, then it looks like, oh well, making that starting lineup change was good and it's fine. But the fact that they did blow the lead and then lost game 3 as well, you never needed to change the starting lineup, and they did, and they finally went back to it in game 4. And what do you know? They've won. They've won the last 2 games with the starting lineup. They got them there. The starting lineup that should have been there the entire time. And for some reason, Mark wanted to overthink and change it before game 1. But he at least corrected it and has gone back to, again, the lineup that literally got you to the finals. So I'm going to be miserable on Thursday, and then we need to just close this out on Thursday. We can't do a game 7. We can't do a game 7. I can't do it. I can't.
Please, I want to see you happy. I want to turn on In the Weeds on Friday and see you overjoyed for at least one day. And of course, most of all, I need to be right. And I did predict Thunder in 6. So I would we all will. Most outside of Jeremy, most of us love NBA basketball game 7s. They're probably the best in sports. But it's too unpredictable. It's too unpredictable then. So I want the Thunder to take care of things in Indiana on Thursday.
I love game 7 when it's not my team. It's great.
I understand that too. Yeah.
Like this is how I feel about hockey. Is like the Stanley Cup Finals have been very good so far. We've had 3 games go to overtime in the Stanley Cup Final, which is, everyone who watches hockey knows that like overtime hockey is like crack. It's legitimately the most exciting thing in the world, unless your team is involved in it. Then it sucks. Then it's just miserable because you're just, one shot can just change the entire game, change the entire series. And I watched my team lose a lot of overtime games this year. It's the most miserable experience as a fan, overtime. If your team is playing. If your team's not in it, if you're just watching the game and you're watching 2 teams that you have no rooting interest in, it's amazing. It rolls. You're just hanging on every play of like, oh, like it's great. So yeah, game 7, I love watching game 7 if my team's not playing, but if my team's in it, it's a miserable experience. I don't want any of that.
I could only imagine what would be your reaction if they lose game 6 and you got to go into a game 7. You would have pre miserable anxiety coming on Friday, and I don't want to see that. I need the Thunder to win the NBA championship. I need to be right so I can see #SP3 is right, and I will make an appearance on my day off once again on this Friday show if that comes to fruition.
You are more than welcome on Friday's show if OKC wins. If OKC loses, I don't know if I'm doing Friday's show.
He's like, so you're still gonna be on this show? But yes,
I don't know if I can fake. I don't know if I can fake my way through Friday's show like I've done in the past. Not at 3-3.
Especially with Joel wanting to talk about TNA for 90 minutes.
Well, last time was when we lost game 1, and I was excited to talk TNA. I took the bit in the opposite direction. I was happy to talk about TNA. I can't do that again. I can't do that for 2 out of 3 weeks. That sounds miserable to try to act excited for TNA that much. That sounds terrible. So, and like losing game 1 sucked, especially in the manner that we did. But like deep down, I knew, okay, it's 1 game. Like we're still a really good team. It's okay. We can bounce back from this. We bounced back from losing game 1 against Denver. We can bounce back from this. This time, championship, like finals, losing game 6.
1 win away. 1 win away.
Like I can't fake. I'm like, hey, let's talk happily and excited about team. I can't do it. I'm gonna be so miserable. I'm supposed to go to a wedding on Saturday, if we're going to a game 7, I'm gonna be miserable at this wedding. Like, oh, congratulations, great. Enjoy your wedded bliss and everything. I might have to kill myself tomorrow, but I'm happy for you. You know.
I'm happy for you though. Hey. Oh man. Yeah, I don't want to see that. So please, Thunder. I made the call to Coach Mark, and I told him go back to the original starting lineup. That's how I made. That's before I made my prediction on this show of whoever wins Game 4 is gonna win this series. I made that call, and he got the message. He got the voicemail. Left it on his way. Left like 46 of them, but I left a voicemail, and he got the hint to go back to the original starting lineup, and that's why they won Game 4. They won Game 5. Let's close the deal. First team to beat the Indiana Pacers twice in this playoffs, 2 times in a row, and they'll be the first team to beat them 3 times in a row on Thursday, God willing.
My wife is very concerned. She's like, "Oh my god, like what is wrong with you?"
That's hilarious. She's like, "Oh, fair warning. You gave her a fair warning." I got a message that said, "Cannot stop him." Cannot stop him.
You can't stop me. You can only hope to contain me. Right now, I'm being contained in this room, isolated to myself right now. But you know, I get the switch. We set the screen, get the switch, find the target that I want, get to the hoop. I saw John and Elba in the chat wondering like, why do we talk about? No, we don't talk about wrestling.
Like, what are we talking about, John?
Especially Tuesdays and Thursdays with me and SP3.
Yeah,
like, we're definitely not talking about wrestling. Like,
yeah, you have to tune in like in the second hour for us to talk about any type of wrestling, because we talked about the NBA finals, and then there was a big trade this week as well, so we got to talk about that as well. And we got to talk about KD, where Jeremy's arch nemesis KD might go. So we got plenty of sports to talk about, and we got a great comment from Chase last week. Shout outs to Chilling with Chase, who said the best part about In the Weeds is Jeremy and SP3 talking about sports. One person says that's enough for us to keep the bit going.
We do have I'll wait till that super chat. Appreciate the super chat, Valaby, but we'll get to that when we actually talk about non-sports stuff. How are they allowed to make trades during the finals? Like, what is this?
I don't know. I don't be understanding, like, what's the rules? Like, is this the offseason begin for everybody else when they're out of the playoffs? I thought like offseason was after the NBA finals. You could start making moves. How are you doing this with games left in the NBA finals? It's ridiculous to me.
Xenomar says that John Alba on the show to talk about the lawsuit. I'll message John Alba. Hold on. I have no problem having John on talk about the lawsuit.
Yeah.
1 second. Do you want to come on this show to talk about the lawsuit and not wrestling? Maybe he wants to talk about the Red Sox trade. The Red Sox trading Rafael Devers for no reason to the Giants. So we'll see if Alba wants to come on. How are they allowed to make trades? Okay, John's gonna come on, but he won't be on camera. Cowardly. All right, so I'll send him the link here in a second. Oh, his hair's not done. God, look at this diva. There's diva out here.
Hey, he's an Emmy Award winner. You gotta watch it.
Right.
Have the hair.
I'll tell him. I'll give him time to fix his hair. So
yeah, we got more NBA to talk about. So.
Yeah, we do have more NBA to talk about. So. Yeah, how do they make trades during the finals? Like, what is this? I do like the trade, mind you, by Orlando. I know people are gonna be like, oh, that's a lot for Desmond Bane. These first round picks, they're not going to be that great. You know, like, you know what I mean? The
Mm-hmm.
Phoenix pick could be very good, but
Yeah.
Orlando's got a young team. They're like, all their core players are like 25 and under. Those first round picks are going to be in like the 20s.
Yeah, I think it's not as egregious or as crazy as the Mikal Bridges trade looked like to me, because I feel like Desmond Bain, he does fit their timeline a little bit better, and I think he's going to be a better fit for Orlando than Bridges was for the Knicks. And Bridges worked for the Knicks through the regular
Yeah, they got
season.
to the.
It just
I mean, they
it
got to
just
the
didn't.
conference finals.
Yeah, and they got to the conference finals. So yeah, it worked out for them. But I mean, there were certain points in that playoffs that I was like, four first rounds for this guy. I don't think I will have that for Desmond Bain. We know Desmond Bain's weaknesses, especially his pterodactyl arms and stuff like that. But he's a good defender. He shoots like 40 for what I think like 41, 42, 40, 41% from three. He's one of the best 3-point shooters, and the Magic has been one of the worst open 3-point shooting teams in all of the NBA, and they had to make a big move to get in there, this window that has widened in the Eastern Conference. This Eastern Conference is wide open because the Boston Celtics, who were viewed after last year's championship as the team to watch for the next 5 to 6 years, they are not the threat that they're going to be. They're going to be next year with Jason Tatum out. Jaylen Brown is still going to be there, and he's going to probably take a step up in his production. But the Boston Celtics are not one of the top teams going into next season. It's kind of wide open. The Knicks have a great team, but they don't know who their coach is going to be, and they feel like they're in turmoil because they didn't have a backup plan after letting go of Tibbs. The Cavs are the number one seed last year, and they're still going to have a great team, but we don't know if it's going to translate like it did this year in the regular season to next year in the regular season, and it's all up in the air when it gets to the playoffs. The Pacers are still going to be there, but that's the only team to me going into next season that I don't have as many questions for as I do with the Cavs and the Knicks. I think that the Cavs, Knicks, and Pacers are the top three going into next season in the Eastern Conference, and the Magic making this move can position themselves right into that top half of the Eastern Conference if it works out for them. So I agree with you. I don't think the 4 first-round picks are as egregious as it was at times to me looking at the Knicks trade for Bridges.
The Magic needed an offensive spark. Their defense has been great, but if Bancaro's not scoring, if Franz Wagner's not scoring, like, they didn't have anybody to run the offense. And as good as Bancaro and Wagner are, like, they're not ball handlers who can like navigate isolation and pick and roll all that well. So having someone like Desmond Bain who can carry the offensive load and create his own shot and create shots for others is going to be huge for them. Like, they needed some type of point guard, and I know I know that Desmond Bain is more of a shooting guard, but like, he can still create for himself and create for others. So they needed a ball handler, and I think Desmond Bain is really good, and I think he's going to be really good on this team. And that's not to say they don't go out and they get some type of backup point guard to help run things and settle things. Like, that's very possible as well. But I think the trade is great for Atlanta. And like you said, the East is so open. It's so open. Like, Boston, we don't know what they're going to be. They're still going to be good, but not having Jason Tatum all season, that's gonna take a hit to their team. The Cavs, we'll see if they make any changes after losing in the second round. The Knicks, we'll see if they make any changes. They've already, like you mentioned, fired their head coach. They don't have a head coach. It might be you, SP3. It might be me. I don't know.
Oh man,
They might be calling to see if we want to coach the team. I don't
might
know
as
what other
well at
options they
this
have.
point after getting rejected 5 times.
The Bucks, we don't know what the Bucks are gonna look like if they trade Giannis or if they try to retool around Giannis. Kevin Durant, if he goes to Miami, that's one of the rumored suitors out there. Like, what does that team look like with Kevin Durant if they make that happen? So we don't know what the East is going to fully look like, but the East is there for the taking. The fact that the Pacers, a 4 seed, are in the finals right now and are 2 wins away from a championship. Like, nobody really had the Pacers to start. They were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. People were just like, oh, okay, they got lucky with they faced a bunch of injured teams, and that's why they made their run. And they're back. They were back in the conference finals, and now they're in the finals. Like, I don't know if the Pacers like fully scare teams in the East. They should, because they're clearly a well coached team, and they're clearly a very good team. But I think people are looking at the Pacers like, wait, the Pacers have made back-to-back conference finals in the finals. Like, okay, we can put together something that competes with the Pacers. I think Orlando feels they can compete with the Pacers, and right now the Pacers are the class of the East. They just are, especially with Boston's injuries. So I like the deal for Orlando. We mentioned Kevin Durant, where he ends up. Who are the suitors? Miami, San Antonio.
He said Miami, San Antonio, and Houston is where he would re-sign. Those are his trade destination. No guarantee that they're going to trade to those teams, but that's the teams he put on his list.
Phoenix is cowardly if they send them keep them in the West. That's all I'll say.
Yo, I was like, you are handing. Do you understand? This is a call to the Phoenix Suns as 2 representatives. You know, he's a fan of the Thunder. I'm a fan of the Los Angeles Lakers. As representatives of the fandoms of the Western Conference, please don't send him to San Antonio. You are literally handing them a chance. If Wemby is healthy over the next 3 years, they're definitely going to win a championship with Kevin Durant if he resigns. Don't do that. Just don't do that, please.
I mean, everyone knows I'm not the biggest KD fan in the world for legitimate reasons. I don't think he impacts winning as much as he used to. The fact that like that Suns team couldn't even be a play-in team. I know they had issues beyond Kevin Durant. I know individually Kevin Durant had a very good season, and like he's going to be able to shoot the lights out until he's at least 40, I'm sure. But as far as like winning basketball games, I don't think he impacts winning as much as he used to, where if you had Kevin Durant 10 years ago, it's like, yeah, you're guaranteed to win like just 50 games. Doesn't really matter who's around him. As long as he's got a competent team around him, you're winning 50 games. He's that good. That's how much he influences the game. He doesn't do that anymore. It happens. I get it. But
I think that Wembanyama might go up there if he continues to develop the way he's been developing, and taking the time off with the injury. If it's not going to be him get the moniker of being injury prone over the next couple of seasons, if he doesn't get injured this coming season, I think he will continue on the trajectory that he's on and being one of the best bigs in all of the NBA. That if KD spends like 3 years or his remaining time in the NBA with Wembanyama, he's gonna become one of the greatest teammates that he ever had. I think for as good as Devin Booker is, and 4 years ago he was so good, he was the leader of the team that him and Chris Paul were like co-leaders of the team that went to the NBA Finals and lost to the Milwaukee Bucks. I don't think he's ever been an S tier teammate for Kevin Durant. I think Kevin Durant's only had 2 really S tier teammates in his career, and that's Russ and that's Steph Curry. And I think that Wembanyama can be a third if he continues on the pace that he's been developing. And I think that will be enough, that it would be much more of a difference than KD with another perimeter guy. I think KD with a guy that has the potential to be an all-time great big, that's something that he's never really played with.
Wow, Draymond Green erasure right there.
I didn't say all-time great defensive big. I mean, that is defensively. Yeah, he's a great. Draymond is an all-timer. But I'm talking about overall, Wembanyama has that potential to be an MVP in this league.
I'd be more worried about Houston in the immediate future because Houston is right now more ready than San Antonio. And Houston, the one thing they lacked was like a top scoring option. Like their defense was great, but when they needed a bucket, who do they go to? Jalen Green, like Fred VanVleet. Yeah, like VanVleet is good. Jalen Green's very inconsistent. Like if you go to Durant, like you can most likely get a bucket. So I'd be more worried. Yeah, I'd be more worried about like Houston in the immediate future than San Antonio. Because San Antonio still has stuff to prove. Like they got the number 2 pick. They just had like they're still a young team overall. Like Durant's obviously gonna lift them, but they still have to they got to make the playoffs first and foremost. Like they haven't even made a playoff series yet, so they first and foremost have to do that, and then I don't Durant's not gonna solve everything for them. I don't know if I don't know where Chris Paul is gonna end up. Chris Paul showed this year he still has at least a season left in him. I think Chris Paul can be. I don't know if Chris Paul wants the ring chase. I wouldn't begrudge him if he did. If he wanted to sign it with the Lakers and come off the bench and try to ring chase with them, I would fully understand that.
I wouldn't want that, but that is an option. That is an option before. And this is outrageous, man. Zeno, I always gotta call you out for your outrageous comment. How is Russ not S tier, especially those last couple of years with KD? How is he not an S tier teammate? I'm not saying S tier all time in the NBA. I'm talking about S tier Kevin Durant teammates. He's not above Steph Curry. Steph Curry's the top of the S tier, but he's in that S tier with Steph Curry.
Yeah, you're not going to get me to slander Russ.
Thank you.
Especially those years. I lived through those Russ and KD years. 2016, when they should have been in the finals, except Kevin Durant forgot how to shoot a basketball in Game 6. Russ was placating Durant so much that entire season. He was trying to get Durant involved. Everyone talked about your turn, my turn, and he doesn't pass to KD enough. I watched that entire season. Russ was passive to Durant that entire season. Don't pay attention to the narrative of he never gave Durant the ball. As someone who watched literally every game that year, I watched Westbrook placate Durant and make sure to set up Durant for everything. And then when Durant didn't want the shot, that's when Russ was like, okay, I got to start taking over these games because this dude doesn't want to take these shots. So somebody has to. So it's got to be me. Did they have their issues? Yes. Were they always the most seamless fit? No. But let's not act like Russ.
Y'all are outrageous. Clay. Okay, now take Clay's Game 6s out of the question. Is he above Russell Westbrook? I think y'all have rose-colored glasses for Clay, where I used to watch all those Golden State games with KD on the team. Clay was definitively the third best player on the team. Yes, for sure. But not every game. Sometimes Draymond Green was a better teammate for Kevin Durant than Klay Thompson. Stop it. It's ridiculous.
Clay was top 5 what in the league before the injury?
Top 5 what?
Top 5 player.
He was not a top 5 player. Like Russell Westbrook was a top 10 player in the NBA with Kevin Durant on his team. Y'all are outrageous. He sometimes wasn't even top. Klay Thompson wasn't sometimes top 5 in his conference. What are we talking about? Y'all are outrageous. Y'all have this revisionist history in y'all head.
Clay, historically great shooter. I think Clay will be underrated in his career because people will look at him next to Steph and be like, okay, well, what did he do? What could he have done without Steph? It's kind of the Scottie Pippen syndrome, right? It was like, well, what could Scottie do without, and I think Scotty's a overall better player than Klay Thompson. But people will knock Scotty because like, all right, well, what did he do without Jordan? And people will be the same thing with Klay. Okay, well, what could he have done without Steph? Klay was a great shooter. Klay had more off the bounce than probably given credit for. He was obviously a very good defender before his injury. But I don't think, even like if you put Klay Thompson with his own team, I think he's Bradley Beal. Like that. Yeah, that's where I'm thinking Klay Thompson is.
Like Klay Thompson, if you really want to do it, like if you really want me to put them in a tier, Klay Thompson is the top of the A tier. As far as Kevin Durant teammates, he's top of the A tier. And I think that's great. He is the top of the top when it comes to A tier Kevin Durant teammate. But when you could ask 100 NBA fans who are the greatest teammate that Kevin Durant ever had, regardless of not always being the best fit, regardless of the arguments, regardless of the discourse. You'll ask 100 of those fans, and a lot of those fans will say Russell Westbrook. They'll say Steph Curry first, but the next name that they will say was Russell Westbrook. That's why he's right behind Steph Curry as the greatest teammate that Kevin Durant ever had.
It's crazy how many just good players KD has played with. It's very crazy. And LeBron as well. I'm not to get into, LeBron and Jordan debates because that's all ESPN wants to do. And
who's your opinion greatest LeBron teammate? I think that's a tougher debate.
I think Wade is the best player that he played with. Like peak Dwayne Wade is the best player that he played with. As far as like teammate, I mean, once he and Wade figured out, like the first year it took some adjustment and everything. Like when him and Kyrie got rolling, like they were so tough.
That's actually my pick. I agree with you. Dwayne Wade's the best player he ever played with. But as far as being his teammate, I think it's Kyrie. That 2016 finals, like that's legendary. That's legend. Like the fact that we get last night with J-Dub getting 40 and Shea getting 31, and the immediate comparison that people had was the 2016 LeBron and Kyrie and how they were putting up buckets together as teammates.
See, they Jose mentioning Anthony Davis, and I think like as far as fit, if you would put like prime LeBron with Anthony Davis, I think that would have been the best teammate, honestly. Because I think prime LeBron with Anthony Davis would have been unstoppable. Like LeBron getting downhill with as physical as he was in his prime and as just athletic as he was in his prime to go along with the passing and everything, that would have been very scary. But obviously he had declined a little bit by the time that he got to the Lakers, and Davis was on the decline. Not when he first got to the Lakers, but every season afterwards with just his injury history.
After his peak, bubble AD. Bubble AD is a different breed. That was a different breed right there. I would put, if I had to put them in the rank, I would say D Wade and Kyrie are S tier LeBron teammates. I don't know. Even though I watched them probably the closest out of all his teammates, him and AD. I think AD would be like top of the A tier, not S tier for me.
It's very funny when you talk about LeBron and Jordan debates, and I saw a lot of this in like that week leading up to the finals because there was nothing to talk about because they had a whole week off between games, and so what drives content? Oh, LeBron and AD or LeBron and Jordan. Like we have to talk about that because of course. And people talked about like Jordan teammates and everything, and they're like, oh well, yeah, it's Scotty and he had Rodman. Like Tony Kukoc was a good player. Steve Kerr was a good player, and I'm like, okay, like they are, like they're Tony Kukoc and Steve Kerr were like Jim Paxson. These are all like Ron Harper. These were all like good players for their time and everything. Where does Tony Kukoc? Was that? Okay, I'm good. All right.
Am I back?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I thought I was I didn't know if I was frozen.
I thought it was
frozen.
you at first.
You did.
And then
You did freeze. You did freeze for a bit, and then I was like, I hear people right outside my window. I was like, are they messing with my Wi-Fi? So I was unsure. So yeah.
What I was saying, like, where does Tony Kukoc rank in terms of LeBron teammates? Like, Tony Kukoc is probably no. Here's my point. I hope you mean
Did Tony Kukoc played with LeBron?
No. My point is when they talk about Jordan teammates and people are like, oh, he had Scotty. All right, Scotty, Hall of Famer, all-time great. He had Rodman. Yeah. Okay, Rodman, Hall of Famer, one of the best defenders and best rebounders in NBA history. Okay. But his third best teammate after that was Tony Kukoc, right? I mean, Steve Kerr. Who you putting over Tony Kukoc? Tony Kukoc was good.
He was, but I would probably put Horace Grant.
Okay, fine. You want to say Horace Grant, you want to say Tony Kukoc, whatever. That's the third best player Jordan played with. Horace Grant or Tony Kukoc, right?
Yeah.
If you talk about teammates that LeBron has had, where if Tony Kukoc or Horace Grant was, let's say, was a LeBron, like where do they
would probably
rank?
be like a D tier. They would probably be like D tier in comparison, because he's played with Wade, Kyrie Irving. Those are my two in the S tier. A tier is probably the most full because he's played with AD. He's played with Chris Bosh. He played with Kevin Love at the end of his prime.
No, Love was still in his prime when they got him. Love was still in his prime.
It was like the last couple of years of his prime, because by like 2018, by like 2018, he was kind of washed.
Nah, we aren't gonna slander Kevin Love.
He was kind of on the decline at least by 2018.
Dude, Kevin Love was 26. He was 26 when he got to Cleveland. He was only 29 in 2017 20. No.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. By 29, he was already on the decline.
No, Kevin Love was legit.
All right, so yeah, Kevin Love is an A tier. That's another A tier for him. Who else? Who else would I put in? I think that's all for A tier. He's got like Luka. 3 different players in A tier. Luka, despite only being 1 year, yeah, he's A tier already for a LeBron teammate. Then you got like B tier would kind of be like Mo Williams.
See, that's where like Tony Kukoc and Horace Grant are. They're like, okay, Mo Williams and Larry Hughes are your teammates there. Yeah, J.R.
Smith. Tristan Thompson.
Ilgauskas. Ilgauskas is kind of nice.
Ilgauskas was probably the best player.
Dude, LeBron played with Ray Allen. What are we doing here?
Oh, yeah. Like, Ray Allen is A tier. Ray Allen saved his whole legacy. He saves his legacy in 2013. So, yeah, he's A tier. He would be an A tier guy.
Like Shane Battier. Shane
Battier would be a B tier guy. Yeah, we would have so many. We would have a whole team of people before we get to Tony Kukoc if he played with LeBron.
So when people do like the LeBron and Jordan debates, and look, I think it's a closer debate than people want to give it credit for, but when they talk about like teammate quality, I don't think there's much of a comparison. Let's be honest
No, there really isn't.
About that.
There really isn't. And I think that's what a lot of people will always say if they're in support of Michael Jordan versus LeBron James. Who are LeBron fans, it will be, oh, but you got to look at his competition, who he went against, who he beat, blah, 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 blah. That's better than Jordan. And with Jordan, it would be, look at who he's playing with. He's playing with Scottie Pippen, but Scottie Pippen, even on a LeBron tier list, Scottie Pippen would be below at least 2 people, Wade and Kyrie Irving. So he's like the third best player that he would be playing with, and that's the very best player.
I'm putting Scottie Pippen over Kyrie Irving.
I don't know. Kyrie in 2016. I have high praise for him, but I'm biased here. That's my family.
Okay, that's
so, to be fair.
One season, and I'm not getting fooled by an N1 mixtape. Sorry, Scottie Pippen.
That's my family, so I am biased. So I'm not gonna say anything.
Scottie Pippen, way more consistent and way better defender.
Oh yeah,
I'm not getting fooled.
That's 100% true.
Wade, there's an argument. I might even put Scottie over Wade. I can at least see the argument there. I ain't hearing an argument for.
I think yeah, they're comparable because I would say D Wade is probably the third greatest two guard of all time, and I would say
Michael Jordan.
I would say Kobe Bryant, and then it's the conversation between Allen Iverson and D Wade.
Yeah, Iverson over Wade. Wade.
Me personally, Iverson, yeah. I mean, I love Allen Iverson, but I would give D Wade the nudge at number 3 because of his resume. Yeah. Yes, Allen Iverson has the MVP, but Wade's got 3 championships. So.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna send this link to John Alba, who maybe he's fixed his hair and will appear on screen. We're going to talk about this news that he broke yesterday with AEW and Jon Moxley lawsuit out here. It's Derrick Rose. People are talking about him. Like Derrick Rose was completely washed by the time he was a LeBron teammate. Yeah. That's not fair to LeBron. That Cavs picture where it's like Wade in the Cavs jersey and D Rose, and it's like, oh man,
that feels like a fever dream.
Yeah,
that feels like a fever dream. Is this real?
John Alba's here. His hair is not done, so he will not be appearing on camera. From SI's The Takedown and not baseball talk. John Alba, how are you doing, buddy?
Who likes sports talk?
Apparently our audience enough to hang out with us for an hour as we talk no wrestling. So our audience hates wrestling. It's great. They follow our suit.
Any loser who only likes talking about sports for a living is a nut
Do you want to
job.
talk about the Red Sox trade? I know you're a huge Red Sox fan.
I saw some people that said they're like, oh, you don't like sport? I'm like, bro, it's a bit. Everything here is a bit.
Yeah, what are you doing on this? Yeah. This whole show's a bit. Are you kidding me?
We can talk about whatever you want to talk about, my dude.
Well, let's talk
Glad
about
to hear
this.
you're doing a little better, by the way. I miss you. I do. I was thinking about you the other day. I was going to check in, and then I had to work on this lawsuit story. So
yeah. I understand. No, I got knocked with COVID. I'm pretty sure I got it at the Kendrick Lamar concert, but well worth it. Well worth it to go to see Kendrick Lamar and
Kung Fu Kenny
get COVID. It'll be all right. All right, so you broke this news yesterday, John Alba, that AEW and Jon Moxley are being sued for negligence, civil assault, and battery by a production crew member. It happened at AEW Dynamite in 2023, where a production crew member he got pushed over during I believe it was the Blood and Guts, and it was an unplanned.
It was a cage match between Kenny Omega.
Moxley versus Omega.
Okay, my fault. And he got pushed over, and it was an unplanned spot, and he's filed this lawsuit. Tell us what's going on here.
Well, there's a lot of ground on that front.
Well, I know. I'd rather you explain it than me.
No, I mean he's being sued, and AEW is being sued for a negligent civil assault and battery regarding the incident. The plaintiff, Christopher Dispenza, who had been doing production work for and with AEW since their inception through another outside company, broadcast service group that hires production people for AEW. He was handing Moxley a screwdriver for a spot because that was when they were doing the whole Don Callis, Kenny Omega screwdriver bit that continued for 2 years. And he claims, Dispenza claims, that the script only called for Moxley to just grab the screwdriver from him. But then if you watch it on video, Moxley very clearly shoves him and he takes a fall. And he claims as a result that he suffered some pretty severe injuries as a result of it that required cervical fusion surgery, shoulder surgery, other ailments as well. I presented the lawsuit, but then I also spoke with his attorneys. I spoke with people within AEW, and then AEW officially on the record would not provide comment on ongoing litigation. But, in the lawsuit, they categorize Moxley as having a history of disciplinary issues, but the individuals that I spoke with at a pretty high level in AEW on background said they had no idea what that was referring to, and that he's looked at pretty highly within the company, and that the lawsuit alleges that AEW was negligent in hiring and training Moxley. So obviously, Moxley has 20 plus years of experience in the wrestling industry, but I think it's more so calling training for this particular spot that it's referring to. It's a very convoluted lawsuit. There's definitely things that to the casual person may feel like a stretch, but what people, when they read this stuff and follow this stuff and consume this stuff, have to understand is that in the eye of the law, very specific things that might seem like a minor technicality could very much make something fall within its parameters or whatever it may be. So that's where it pretty much stands right now. And he's seeking damages exceeding at least $25,000. I saw a lot of people running with that number, $25,000. That's just in order for it to not be in a civil small claims court. The numerical value of the damages has to exceed $25,000, and he's saying that it exceeds that. So it could be a lot more than that. It could be around that. We don't really know. I think they're just seeking damages in general.
Did he continue to work with AEW after this spot?
Yes, he continued to work with them. He did not file an incident report. He took it up with a few people that night, including Doc Sampson, AEW's psychologist and a member of the training staff. And he said he was getting treatment from the training staff, but then was told that he no longer was going to get treatment. He alleges that the higher-ups in AEW were aware of the incident, but it was never discussed. And he had a meeting with AEW General Counsel Chris Peck and Tony Khan at some point several months later, but they never discussed the actual incident, and they just discussed future full-time employment opportunities, but nothing came of those.
Do you know the last time he worked with AEW?
December 2024.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. All this is off the top of my head, so I apologize. But
No.
Yeah, that was that's where things ended for him in terms of he hasn't worked with them since then.
Okay. SP3, you got anything?
Does the fact that he continued to work with AEW after the incident work against him in any way, from what you know?
Look, I don't want to sit here and editorialize, how I think the law is going to handle a situation like that. I have no idea. Again, I just know the facts of what the lawsuit claims, what he's alleging, and he did continue to work for AEW. I mean, the one thing I'll say is that a lot of civil suits, I've seen a lot of people like, well, it took 2 years. A lot of civil suits can take years to unfold. People sue for car accidents 5+ years after they happen. That's because a lot of times with stuff like that, you don't necessarily know what the damages are until a few years later. So if he's claiming that he sustained these injuries as a result of this incident, it could take a couple of years for you to truly know the extent of your injuries from something. So I think that's a potential reason why that may have taken so long, but also like legal processes just in general take time. So I'm not terribly surprised by the timeline. It seems like a lot of people were. Like I said, I think there's a lot of things on the surface that seem like, oh, that might hold up in court or that might not hold up in court. But we don't even know if something like this will actually get to court. It's very possible that there's settlement talks at some point or something of that nature. And it's also a complicated situation because two parties are getting sued here and the two parties are still working together, Jon Moxley and AEW, right? And then also there's the tricky water of there's certain parts of the lawsuit where it talks about like employee of AEW, and then there's certain parts of it where it talks about like contracted employee, and like Moxley is not an employee of AEW. He's technically by classification independent contractor. So there's a lot of small nuances like that again, I don't think a lot of people are diagnosing and looking into when it comes to talking about this altogether.
Oh, and there's all the armchair lawyers on social media that should not be listened to.
Yeah, well, I was a little annoyed because I saw a lot of people like trying to break it down yesterday, and like, and that's fine. Like, you want to talk about it, I understand that. But man, like, I spent like a week working on that thing, and I just hope that if people want to talk about it, read the report in full, read the lawsuit, read the claim. I added a ton of additional reporting to it in terms of who I spoke with. And so, because like you don't want to be sharing misinformation, right? Like you don't want, especially with a precarious legal situation, where I can't remember the last time we saw something like this on a mainstream stage. There was that time that Hogan choked out that TV presenter on television after the guy like goaded him into putting him into a sleeper hold to prove that wrestling was fake. But you don't see it too much where on like a mainstream stage on live television in an episode of the show, we have clear evidence that this actually happened, right? Like, I mean, it happened. It's just a matter of what were the circumstances around it.
When it comes to the disciplinary issues that are listed in the lawsuit, and you mentioned that the production member has alleged that Moxley has a history of disciplinary issues, and then AEW just was like, we don't have any knowledge of that. Would that be something that there would be some sort of record of like, hey, this person has filed this complaint to Jon Moxley? Like, I'm just wondering why he would say he has a history of this, why Dispenza would say he has a history of this, if that's not something that can honestly be like proven.
Yeah, if you give me 1 second, I'm pulling. I don't want to speak out of both sides of my mouth here when I say this. I believe, yeah, okay. So in count 1, which is negligent hiring, training, supervision, retention, they mention in bullet point 19, the past disciplinary offenses by defendant Moxley include a documented history of unpredictability as well as a lack of control by defendant AEW, all of which were known or should have been known to the defendant AEW at the time of this assault. So they're very clearly alleging that within AEW, during his time in AEW, Moxley had documented incidents of, what's the term, unpredictability as well as lack of control. This is me speaking as a reporter right now. In my time covering AEW, I personally have never heard of any documented history of issues with Jon Moxley in that sense. And the individuals I spoke with, again, pretty high-level people in AEW, had no knowledge of this either. That's not to say it didn't happen. I don't know. Maybe there is stuff that, never got to the public realm. We all know that John had a very public bout, with alcohol that caused him to go seek help and take time away. Maybe that's what they're pointing to. I don't know. Again, I'm not even speculating because I truly don't know what they're referring to, because none of that was ever across my radar. And as I mentioned, him leaving to seek treatment, that was a very public thing. That was not something that was like a private thing. They talked about that on the television show, for crying out loud. So I'm not really sure where that came from altogether.
I have to ask about this because I've seen a lot of people kind of put this all into one. Of course, a notable AEW star, Ricochet, tweeted about the whole lawsuit. Is there any way that, and he did delete the tweet right afterwards, is there any way that could be used against AEW in this lawsuit?
I mean, again, I don't want to editorialize on how the justice system would play out, but if the company's official stance is that they don't comment on legal issues and then a talent comments on the legal issues, there's probably a good reason that was deleted pretty quickly. you just connect some dots there. That's pretty much how I draw it. I don't want to say what would hurt or what wouldn't hurt. I have no idea. None of us know. But I think that it's a situation where they probably don't want to add fuel to the fire. And it's funny, I saw a lot of people like, oh, Tony has to totally make this a work now with Moxley's character. Like, dude, this is active litigation going on. Like, God, take off the hat for a second and realize that there's like real life ramifications of doing something like that.
Yeah, turning it into a work. Not everything's a work.
Not folks. Everything needs to be a work.
No.
God.
This is not the one.
Stupid. Let's not be dumb about this. That's why the Ricochet tweet is like
what we do on our show.
All part of the show.
It's gracious.
Don't be dumb about these things. Just especially active lawsuits, just let it play out where it needs to play out, which is not a television show. What are we doing? Or on Twitter, because nothing needs to play out on Twitter. God forbid. Anything else, John, that you want to make sure that's talked about when it comes to the lawsuit?
No, again, I think people just need to because you're right. There's a lot of armchair lawyers and doctors all of a sudden, right? It's like, well, that fall. There's no way he could have gotten that hurt off that fall. It's like, first off, we truly don't know the extent of what his injuries were or what his previous body was, previous health was like, or what it's been like since. What I'll say as someone who has taken bumps and all that stuff, like if you're not planning to fall, and I mean, anyone can relate, right? Like, if you're not planning to fall, a very easy slip could be very damaging, or it could be nothing, too. Sammy Sosa threw his back out sneezing, and anything can happen on a minor action. So I think people discounting the defendant or the plaintiff just because of that is silly and very uninformed. But again, that's not to say, oh, everything he's saying is truthful. We don't know. And that's going to be up to the court of law to determine that if it gets there. Or if there's a settlement made, then there's a settlement made, And I just thought there was a lot of assuming going on about both sides. And that bothers me. I figured that would happen because it's wrestling discourse. And a lot of people want to be experts. I also think that there are probably a lot of people blowing the story into something much bigger than it is. And then I think there were people who were trying to downplay it as a nothing burger. And I don't think it's either of those things. I think it's somewhere in between, because the reality is this is a production crew member who is not a trained wrestler, who on camera was shoved down in a way that seemingly injured him. And there's concrete proof of it happening. Everyone can see it. It happened on live television in front of millions of people. So what kind of precedent does that set going forward for wrestling? Look, hopefully it's something we learn from and are much more careful going forward now, where in wrestling, no one who's not a trained wrestler should be taking or put in a position to be touched, right? Like, it just shouldn't happen. And I think logic would tell you that Moxley was in character and he got carried away with what he did. And now it's just, how do you maneuver that? So curious what type of precedent that it sets more than anything.
We shall see. It'll play out in court, or it'll potentially get settled out of it. Great job just on the story.
Thanks, dude.
Overall,
yes,
John. I saw this yesterday.
Yes, great job, John.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you joining us here. We can move to something light if you would like. Tell us about TNA and Sci-Fi.
Dude, this was so weird. This was so bizarre. I just get a report. I'm like scrolling through. I had thousands of notifications yesterday because of the lawsuit stuff, and so I was just scrolling through them. I'm not really engaging any of them, and I just suddenly somewhere see, oh, John Alba's reporting that TNA is like engaging Sci-Fi with the deal. I'm like, where did that come from? I never once said anything about that. Like a month ago, I reported that TNA was like exploring its media options and that they had a few networks and streaming services that they were like exploring as potential options. I did not name any specific ones because at the time of my report, I had not heard any specific names other than like some of them were bigger platforms and whatnot. So when Sci-Fi got just thrown out there, I was like, I truly do not know where this report came from. Someone just made it up straight up. And thankfully, Carlos Silva, the president of TNA, who's like pretty chronically online, he caught wind of it too, and he made a funny little comment about it. I think Carlos is doing a pretty good job in terms of like getting the right irons in the fire for TNA, and he's pretty transparent, which I think is a rarity in wrestling, no matter what these companies try to tell you. And no matter what reality shows they put on Netflix telling you how transparent they are. But this was so bizarre, dude. It was so bizarre. And I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, Sci-Fi won't end up as a rights holder. It could. I don't know. NBC Universal's in bed with WWE, so it's totally possible. But I was just like, I never once remotely threw that out there. So I don't know where that came from. Do any of you know where that came from? Because I do not.
I didn't see it. Okay. I didn't see it until you tweeted it. I do a good job of staying away from the fake engagement accounts and the fake news reports to where they do not cross my radar at all until someone who is trustworthy like mentions like, hey, saw this fake report. And that's not true. Like, Cam was on our show and he's like, I saw Zoe Stark said she was going to retire. And I was like, what? Huh?
Oh, that AI video?
It was the AI video. Sorry, Cam.
No, that's
and I was like, I was
burying Cam again.
Yeah. I was like, I didn't see this at all. Like, I do not see a lot of the fake news stuff. Like, Kate messaged me one time of like, oh, you might want to pre-write this. Of like, I forget what it was. And I was like, where was this at? And then I researched it. I was like, did you get fooled by a fake account? And she's like, oh yeah, apparently I did. Like, the fake news stuff do not, the fake news does not hit my radar until like someone real calls it out.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, you're not in the weeds with the weeds. That's good. It's just,
people think I'm online way more than I actually am. I'm not online unless I'm doing real work.
Oh, who are we to question the point guard when it comes
Thank
to
you.
that stuff? But I mean, I don't know. It was just very bizarre to me that stuff. And like, look, Sean deals with it on a much larger scale than any of us, right? Like, I mean, it's just crazy. And, I think that's why, and I'm someone too, who's very similar. Like, it's why when we see something that someone says that's not true or anything of that degree, we're very quick to be defensive of it or to try and shut it down, because there's potentially very damaging ramifications to the credibility of your work and your personal credibility when fake stuff is just circulating. I mean, it's just, it can be really damaging. And people are like, oh, they're so soft. It's like, no, man, like, if I'm to be taken seriously going forward, you can't just have fake stuff floating around that's attributed to you. That's just not okay. And it was funny. I mean, you're always going to get the people that are like, they're so-and-so shill. They get their paycheck from so-and-so. And I almost swore pretty bad there, but there is a tweet underneath my story about the lawsuit that had a screenshot of me recapping something that Tony Khan said on a call that someone was trying to say was bull crap. And they're like, see, this is proof he's an AEW shill because he didn't follow up on this. I'm like, dude, you're responding to a tweet about a lawsuit against AEW that I spent a week working on. Where is this coming from? I just don't understand how people operate like this. Like, I just don't get it. But yeah, did your check from TK come in this week? Because mine's a little late. So
I can't
even get a ticket through media. How are y'all getting checks? I've been called an AEW shill and a WWE shill because I watch both.
You're actually secretly a New Japan shill more than anything.
Exactly. See, John knows me.
That's what it really boils down to.
I can't get a T-shirt that I created, much less a check. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, Sid and I had to. He sent a list one time where he ranked the biggest heel turns of all time, and I spent a good 48 hours trying to convince him to put Christmas in the Cage from 1982 between the Freebirds.
He did convince me. I went back and watched it too.
I was like, Sid, come on, you got to go back and watch Christmas in the Cage, and he did, and I turned him around, I don't know what relevance that had to this story, but I just felt like
John's one of the good ones. I know I'm always gonna get some good feedback, whether it's something I need to change or something that I'm good. If the list is good or not, I know I'm gonna get it from John.
I don't hold back, bro. Like I'm beyond the point of caring about like holding it back. I just tell it like it is, and yeah, it's whatever. Yeah, I was a little more diplomatic back in the day, but no longer.
And John's the only one who understands when I just go on a hinge on SI meetings about Triple H. He's the only one that understands me. Yeah, I feel like he's patting me on the back virtually when I go on hinge.
Well, it's not even just a Paul Levesque thing. It's like there's just so many silly tropes that we've become accustomed to as wrestling media over the last few years, and it goes far beyond Paul Levesque, but. It's
everyone. It's everyone and everything.
Truly, everything is the bit. It's truly.
You guys need to just enjoy the show because
dude, shut up and sing, right? Like that's what we're at. Like,
shut up and dribble.
Shut up and dribble, right? Like that's where we're at. Just like enjoy the content, consume the content, and oh god,
just enjoy the show.
Sorry, I didn't mean to hijack your show. I was just.
Oh, you're fine. John Alba.
No, we love it. We love it.
Alba, I hope you know this link is static. So literally anytime you would like to come on and just bullshit with us, just show up. Like
you helped us talk about wrestling on this wrestling show. So
this is the first talk we had of wrestling an hour into the show.
That's fair.
We were going to spend the rest of the second half just talking more basketball probably. So.
Oh, I see this. Okay, so Joel, thank you for passing along.
Don't thank Joel. That sounds terrible.
The TNA Sci-Fi rumor was from an account, Amber Layla, Ghost of Madness.
Yes. No idea who that is.
They just commented. They just posted a picture of TNA and Sci-Fi, and said talks are on. period.
And then it just got attributed to you.
And somehow that and look, for all we know, talks are on. I don't know. I got no clue. But I certainly didn't report that. So you know what I should start doing? I should just start posting 2 simultaneous pictures next to each other of things that are completely non sequitur. Like here's a picture of Kevin Owens and Frylock from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Just like
Talks are on.
With eyeball emojis. just let it go.
See, people think like, oh, real media doesn't do any of that. And I pointed out at the NHL trade deadline, Kevin Weeks, well-respected NHL insider, he when the Avs are out here making these moves, and the rumor is always like Crosby to the Avs because he wants to play with McKinnon, Crosby to the Avs, he's out here just posting pictures of like the Pittsburgh Bridge with eyeball emojis, and it's like, what does this mean? It's like, real reporters do this. They shouldn't.
Oh,
like,
Kevin Weeks is not a real reporter. Kevin Weeks is,
but he has inside info though. Like, he's broken news. That's the thing. Is like, you can say what you want. Well, I love Kevin Weeks. He was great in his time as a goalie in Carolina, but like he has insider information. So like doing that is still something of like, oh, real reporters don't do that. Like, they do, and I don't know. It's all.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do that. I don't think it's great ethics, but
I don't think so either. But the fact that people try to be like, oh, real reporters don't, it's like, yeah, they actually do that. So your whole basis of like, oh, you won't see this in the NBA or the NHL, like, you do see it there. Like, should you? Probably not. But let's not act like they are above doing this either.
I'm just gonna tweet out a bunch of random pictures and eyeball emojis.
I do like that your Aqua Teen and Kevin Owens reference. That'll pop the wife as well. Big fan of both of those.
Is she an Aqua Teen crony?
Oh, loves Aqua Teen.
Aqua Teen's one of my all-time favorite shows.
I got her a hoodie. I am 40 years old.
I am 30 or 40 years old, and I do not have time for this.
I got her that hoodie. Now she literally watching Aqua Teen like the other day. Like anytime, that's one of her like comfort shows that she'll just throw on.
My entire pro wrestling character that I did on the indies for so long was so inspired by Master Shake. I can't even tell you. It's
so good.
Self-indulgence, like just self-righteousness.
Yes, inspired by Master Shake.
Completely detached from reality. Yeah. And made of pistachio cream. But yeah, man. No, tell the EP. That's a good one.
Yeah, she loves the Aqua Team.
That's good.
All right, John Alba, thank you for joining us here. Joel's yelling at me to talk about Goldberg because that's the thumbnail. But
yeah, I'm good on that one. All you guys. See you later. Peace.
Thanks, buddy.
Peace, John.
We love John Alba. Good to we didn't get to see John Alba, but good to talk to John Alba again. So.
His disembodied voice.
He should just pop up on the show. These people know like the link is the same. Just pop on.
I pop on the show on my days off.
Yeah, if we don't care. Like,
as I was working, I was on the show on Friday. We had enough people where I was able to actually finish work on time.
Yeah, we had the whole group going on Friday. Kimmy saying was crying over crying. Don't cry over basketball. Get severely depressed.
He was depressed and yelling, DJ McConnell!
5-foot white dude. Greatest defense of all time. Can't stop this guy. Fuck out of here.
DJ McConnell. All right, we got to talk about Raw and Goldberg.
We don't have to.
Yeah, we have to, because then my whole goal on Tuesdays is to talk as much Raw as possible. So when Joel's on here on Wednesday, he's very redundant because he just says the same thing that we already said on the day prior.
Raw last night, Goldberg came out, and he's like, Gunther, you're next. And the crowd was like, yay.
No, he said, you're mine, and you're next. He looked very old. I think this is the oldest.
Dude, he's 58. He is old.
Yeah, but like when I've seen him in the past, he still had a little bit of that Goldberg. Every time they shot him from behind, I was like, oh my God, he's really old.
I was legitimately stunned at how small he looked compared to Gunther.
Yes.
I was like, man, Goldberg's whole shtick and whole aura is that he's this big jack dude who looks like he could murder you. And next to Gunther, I'm like, I don't think he can murder Gunther.
I think Gunther's gonna murder him.
Yeah. I would not. I don't think Goldberg's gonna win because I think that would be very dumb to put the title on him. And
I think so, but the advertising for his merchandise did not leave me with a pleasant feeling.
It'd be funny to me. I think that stuff's hilarious if they're just gonna put the title on Goldberg. I don't care enough about wrestling to be like, oh, this is a bad decision. You know, what are they thinking? Like, no, this is hilarious. You want to put the title on Goldberg? Sure. Go. I thought it was funny when he beat The Fiend, and I love The Fiend. I'm all for the most hilarious, dumbest booking decision in the world, and that would be Goldberg winning the title from Gunther. So I'm for it. But man, like you could sell that if Goldberg looked like Goldberg and looked like the dude who could run through Gunther. He don't look like that dude. So I ain't really buying it like I would have bought it when he beat The Fiend. Like, dude, he was still jacked. He was still looking good. Looking real jacked, baby. Looking real jacked. He was still looking good against The Fiend. But against Gunther, I'm like, nah, he couldn't murder this dude. There ain't no way. Get Gage in there. Gage might be able to look like a monster against Gunther. But hey, Gunther should win. Would be hilarious if Goldberg won, though. Ken Bruno sends a super chat. Fun fact, Goldberg has a total match time of 42 to 53 minutes since Survivor Series 2016. Get that bag, Bill. Get that bag. How many matches is that since then? Hold on.
So Survivor Series 16, he versed Brock Lesnar.
That was Brock.
Then his next match was Kevin Owens at Fastlane. No, the next match was the Royal Rumble. Then
are we counting the Rumble?
I think even if you count the Rumble, it's not that long. He wasn't in that match for very long. Okay. Then it's Kevin Owens at Fastlane 2017.
That was 22 seconds.
Then it's Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 33.
That match ruled. That was 4 minutes and 54 or 45 seconds.
That match ruled. Just not what I was thinking, but
nah, that was a good match. Goldberg and Brock at WrestleMania, dude. It's less than 5 minutes. That's a great match.
I mean, no, I love that match. That is my favorite. That's my favorite out of all the Goldberg matches.
You're wrong. You're wrong. There's a much better Goldberg match.
I know what you're gonna say is Undertaker at in Saudi Arabia.
The greatest match of all time.
You're a maniac.
Legitimately one of the greatest matches of all time. It's 8 minutes of near-death experiences.
You're outrageous.
So hilarious.
You're outrageous, sir, and there's something wrong with you. There was Dolph Ziggler at SummerSlam 2019.
Yeah, that's a minute 50.
That's a minute 50.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're very low so far, and we're 6 matches in. There was, I know the Fiend in Saudi Arabia.
That was 259. That match also ruled.
I hate you so much. Why do you hate wrestling so much? I don't understand. What's your issue?
Goldberg is right up my alley. All his matches are sub 10 minutes. That's perfect. Perfect wrestling.
I don't know why you hate wrestling so much. Braun Strowman at WrestleMania 36.
That was 213. Yep.
213. This is sad. This is sad. Every time I mention one, I'm just depressed. There was Bobby Lashley. I think first it was Drew McIntyre.
Yep.
Drew McIntyre at Royal Rumble 2021.
That was 232.
Then it's Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam.
Yep, 710.
So there we go. And then the match time is increasing a little bit. Then Bobby Lashley again at Crown Jewel.
Do you know how long this Crown Jewel match was?
13 minutes.
11:25. Terrible match.
He's like, it went over 10. Terrible match.
Awful.
Terrible.
No
match.
one needs an 11-minute Goldberg match. What the hell?
Yeah, I don't know whose idea that was. Doesn't sound like a good idea at all. Don't think he was in the Royal Rumble in 2022. So his next matchup had to be Roman Reigns at Elimination Chamber.
6 minutes. That was his last match.
So how was can anyone got the calculator out so we can get an accurate time?
Oh, I mean, I trust that Ken's math here. I trust.
Yeah, I trust him. I trust him.
No, we should go back and rewatch Goldberg and Undertaker. One of the greatest matches of all time.
We on the road to Goldberg's final match, or hopefully his final match at Saturday Night's Main Event. We should either pick Tuesday or Thursday, where we rewatch it with the fans. We rewatch it on In the Weeds. These Goldberg matches.
I don't want to do it on In the Weeds. I mean, this would be fine, but
or it could be a Fightful Select exclusive.
So I want to do this with Kenny and Okada as well. Yeah, I don't want.
I gotta invite you. You gotta join me and Jimmy. Me and Jimmy been doing that on True Hill Heat Patreon.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, invite me to do that. But I do want to do. See, the True Hill Heat, you guys are like professionals, and you care about wrestling, and you like the good wrestling and stuff.
Well, to be fair, I'm doing it with Jimmy Macaram.
Sure.
I don't know if that's an apt description of Jimmy Macaram.
That's actually fair. So I'm sure people may or may not have noticed that along with the shorts that we're doing on the channel, I'm starting to cut up like segments from the show and posting them, like some of our longer discussions, and posting them as like standalone videos, because YouTube algorithm, they don't always love the live streams. They like the standalone video stuff. I do think like a match watch along, it would be something that we can do in post as like it'd be fine as a standalone video, like if it's me and you or all three of us, the third being Joel, doing that, and like we post like the link for like select subscribers like in the Discord, and then we post it as a standalone video like once we actually get to post it. But yeah, like just the bad wrestling matches, not the good ones. So
I'm down for that. That actually sounds like fun.
So we can watch Kenny and Okada on the True Heel channel, but then like on this we're watching Goldberg and Undertaker.
The Goldberg hits Saudi Arabia classics. That's what
Saudi
we should
classics. Oh my gosh.
Saudi classic Goldberg and Undertaker. Undertaker and Kane versus DX. Like, come on, let's do it. Goldberg. I mean,
long. How long is that?
It
match?
is. Brock versus Roman in a cage at Greatest Royal Rumble.
Oh, I forgot about that match. Oh yeah, we might have to do that fucking Undertaker and Kane against DX match is 27 minutes.
That feels like an eternity.
Yeah, I don't know if I can do that one. I don't know if I can do that.
I made you tap out before we even started watching.
I don't know if I've gone back and rewatched it, because like I can deal with the bad wrestling matches. Everyone knows that. I love that, but it can't be bad in that long. That's too much.
He's like, that's too much for me. I might have to tap out, sir.
I might do it. We'll see. But Goldberg
and the Fiend. We can watch that.
Goldberg and the Fiend. I'd definitely rewatch. Yeah. Oh, Shane winning best in the.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's a good shout. Yeah.
That match sucked too. How long was that match? Oh, the
Shane and
final?
Dolph.
Oh, that was only 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Oh hell yeah. We should watch that.
Yeah, those are short.
You know what? Fuck it. Let's watch the DX and Brothers of Destruction. I got a .66 on Cage Match. What's lower than that?
I don't know.
0.66.
I want to go to Cage Match and see if anyone's rated Butterbean and Minoru Suzuki.
Oh, we got to rewatch that.
Yeah, I'm down for that. I'm down for that.
Yeah, we got to rewatch Butterbean.
I think that you need to watch that to have a bar of what's horrible in wrestling. Like, that is my new bar for horrible wrestling is Minoru Suzuki and Butterbean.
What did that get?
That's at a 0.59, Jeremy.
Ooh, okay. Can you look and see? Because I know you can look at like the top list. All right, top list. Let's make sure. Top 100. Oh, I want like where's the flop 50? Okay, that's got to be like the worst matches, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, here we go. Oh, Jenna Maraska against Charmel. All right.
What's that got?
That's a 0.20. That's the lowest rated match in Cage Match history.
Wow.
All right, Jeff Hardy and Sting. I mean, that's like a 2-minute match. That's easy to watch.
Yeah.
Goldberg and The Fiend is third, 0.27. That's third all time.
Wow.
John Cena and John Laurinaitis.
Ooh. That's what we need to watch for Cena's retirement. We need to watch Cena's worst matches.
I was at this event.
You were?
WWE Over the Limit 2012. This had Danielson and CM Punk. Was also on this show. Yeah, it was in Raleigh, North Carolina, where I lived at the time. Yeah, I was at this event. I remember I was like very excited for Punk and Bryan, and I was like, oh, okay. And then it wasn't on last because John Cena had to go on last. But I was a huge Cena fan, so like I was cool with it. I was like, yeah, John Cena, that's still fine.
Oh, that's a great name. Worst of the Weeds.
Oh, okay. All right. This
is great job, Ken Bruno. Great job.
Appreciate you, Ken. All right, we're gonna do this. I'll set up the stream. I don't know when we'll start doing this, but I'll set up the stream. If you're in the Fightful Select Discord, I'll post it in the Weeds channel, so that way everybody can join us. I'll let everybody know when we're gonna do it and stuff, and then I'll post the video. As it'll be a standalone video on the channel, because this is all evergreen content. It's not like this stuff has to run like immediately. So yeah, all right, good job, Ken Bruno. Good job with the name. Good job, chat, and good job to myself and SP3. Pat ourselves on the back for this whole ass idea here. We'll start this at some point. What's the next big event that we'll try to like have it lead into? You know, some of these big events. The next big event is the Saudi show. So, oh fuck, are we gonna start with the Brothers of Destruction DX match?
I mean, I do have time on this week because there's no big shows over the weekend, so I do have time. So just
this week depends. Again, I got the wedding on Saturday, so I can't do it on Saturday.
Right.
And then Sunday could be a miserable. I refuse. If Sunday's Game 7, I'm not putting myself through hell just to continue to live in hell. Yeah. Sorry.
More than once. You don't need to do it more than once.
Yeah. Sorry. Maybe on Friday or something. We'll figure it out. We'll figure
I'm free. I'm free. I don't think I'm recording anything on Friday, so that would work.
I got to get Joel to do this too. Joel's got to align with these times and stuff. No, we'll do Goldberg. We'll do a couple Goldberg and Saudi matches, honestly, because they're so short. Like, we can honestly do.
You can watch like 2 or 3. Yeah, you can watch 2 or 3 in one sitting.
Yeah, we'll do Goldberg. The Goldberg Saudi matches. We'll figure it all out. We'll throw some ideas in the Discord as well if you're in the Discord, and we'll get it all down. All right. Now the Goldberg and Brock matches are good. Like, legitimately.
Yeah. The Survivor Series
match is good.
No, the WrestleMania 20.
Oh, the WrestleMania. Yeah, that match
20.
Sucked. Yeah. That's true. Okay. All right. Anyway, Goldberg's back. He's gonna face Gunther. Moving on. Anything else? Anything else to add to that?
I mean, yeah, I think his promo was fine. He just, it just was kind of stunning of like how old and smaller he looked in comparison to Gunther, and how much the fans in attendance knew Goldberg was coming out. Like, for all the people that say, oh, the people that are in the building is so different from the internet wrestling community. No, they were very in tune. Green Bay, Wisconsin apparently had a bunch of people that are on the internet because they were chanting Goldberg when Gunther was like, I've heard the rumors, and he wanted to go to talk about Seth Rollins, and they're like, no, give us Goldberg. Like, yeah. And I disagree. I've seen some people online that were like, oh, if no one had reporting this, Goldberg would have got a bigger pop. No, it's just these fans nowadays are not gonna pop in the same way for Attitude Era freaking artifacts coming on screen like they would like 10 years ago. I think it's not the same crowd. This crowd was, especially last night, they were more into the current stars than they were into anyone who had like a feel of nostalgia to them.
Yeah, it was funny that they chanted for Goldberg and Gunther. I like that Gunther addressed it and was like, I don't deal with rumors. I deal with facts. And the fact is, I beat Jey Uso and I'm the champion again. It's like, all right, good job of like getting ahead of that, especially if you knew Goldberg was showing up. So it's Goldberg. Whatever. It's fine. I got nothing against Goldberg, honestly. I think he should win. I think he'd be funny. Just hilarious.
The better undefeated powerhouse, Asuka, made her return on the show. I thought she looked really good. I love the new face paint that she had, the new mask. I love the fact she had her old theme song, her original theme song, which is still one of the better theme songs in WWE today. Even though I will say, Stephanie Vaquer has one of the few great Death Revel themes. I really like her theme. But I thought the opening 4-way matchup, it was fine. I mean, both 4-way matchups on this show fit the theme of what's been the King and Queen of the Ring tournament. We had 8 first-round 4-way matchups, and 5 out of 8 had outside interference. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous at this point.
Sean last night, before the show started, he's like, how many matches have had interference? And I was like, 3 of the 4 men's matches, like only the Cody match didn't have interference, or 2 of the 3, I guess, at the time. It turned out to be 3 of the 4. It was pretty predictable that match was going to have interference. But it was like 2 of the 3, but only like only one third of the women's matches. But then, of course, this women's match also had interference. So that turned out to be 2 of 4. I joked about it with the triple threat Money in the Bank matches of always going to book triple threat matches because then they can do interference. And now it's just the same thing with these 4-way matches. Oh, we can do interferences. It's like, all right, he loves the interference stuff. Just loves it. It's unnecessary, but
yeah. And I love the fact, shout outs to the people who were like trying to convince me as a pessimistic WWE fan that, King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring tournament, it's going to be some good television, some good wrestling. They had 4 of those 4-ways on SmackDown, and that SmackDown show was a bang average SmackDown show. Like, those 4-way matches, I'm not going to remember next week. By the time SmackDown starts next week, this Friday, I'm not going to remember any of those matches. I thought the first one with LA Knight and Randy Orton and Carmelo and Aleister Black, that was good, but all the other ones were like very forgettable. The first women's one with Jade Cargill winning, that was not a good matchup. The second women's one with Alexa and Charlotte, that was boring. And then the Cody one, it was pretty good, but I'll forget it in like a week. Like, none of these, the only 4-ways that I think that were good, that will kind of stay in my memory, was the Sammy one from last week and last night's main event. Last night's main event was a legitimately great matchup. And finally, it was great and got a big reaction for all the interferences because it had like 5 run-ins in one match. 5 run-ins. They just sports entertained us with all the run-ins with Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn and Penta and LA Knight. Then Seth comes out at the end and you get Cody coming out.
People in the match. Like, what are we doing out here?
Oh man, but I thought the portions with Sheamus being like the brute. I think Sheamus, he's so underrated, like by WWE and by the fans in general. He's so good. I thought he was like the glue of that matchup because his exchanges with Bronson Reed were very well done. Him coming up like a monster and then delivering the 10 beats of the Bowery over the barricade. That was one of my favorite spots of the matchup. Him just becoming Tomohiro Ishii versus Shingo Takagi with Rusev was really fun, with them just battering each other with lariats. That was really good. Jey Uso was kind of the odd man out in this matchup because you had a whole bunch of brutes, and then you got Jey with doing about 4 moves in the entire matchup. I thought he did the spear and drop in super kick like 8,000 times. It was ridiculous.
Folks, I apologize that now my lighting is half. I'm fading here at the 2 hour mark of this show. The COVID's getting to me. Everything's just getting to me. Brother. So the bright light is just, it's too much right now. So I'm going half light around here. And I'm not trying to run through Raw and rush through Raw, but I'm fading SP3. It's okay.
The last thing that we have to mention from last night's show is the unfortunate injury to Liv Morgan.
So Liv faced Kairi Sane, and it was a simple, just like takedown spot, like a trip spot, and she just braced herself and suffered a dislocated shoulder off of it. Don't know how long she's gonna be out, but she's clearly planned for like big stuff moving forward. She was obviously gonna face Nikki in some capacity at Evolution, whether it was gonna be a tag team match with Raquel or whether it was gonna be a singles match. Like, she was gonna face Nikki in some capacity. SummerSlam's in New Jersey. You knew she was gonna be a big part of that match. Or of that event, 2-night show in New Jersey, her hometown.
She did the whole angle to start off the show with Io Sky, so that probably would have been added to Night of Champions, or at least one of like a big episode of Monday Night Raw, because Io hasn't defended the title since WrestleMania, and this was like the first indication of a title match for her, and they did that, and they probably would have further develop that whole rivalry in the Kyrie matchup, considering we had a backstage segment with Finn and Roxanne where Finn was basically talking Roxanne about basically helping Liv in this matchup. So IEO would have came out to back up Kyrie. So yeah, she's involved in like 3 or 4 different stories at this point, with Io Sky, with Nikki Bella or the Bella twins, with Roxanne and the Judgment Day. Those are 3 of the main storylines. So this is like WWE's worst nightmare for the women's division on Monday Night Raw coming true, because Liv has been one of their best female performers, one of their best performers, period, regardless of gender, throughout 2025. And she's really been the glue of a stellar Raw women's division that they've assembled right now. She was really the glue of it as the top heel, and to have her go down with a dislocated shoulder, which can take upwards to 16 weeks to recover from. Hopefully it's not that serious, but we've seen cases like Randy Orton in the past who got a dislocated shoulder and he was out for 6 months. So it could be bad. It could be something minor. Hopefully she could still like perform on TV with the arm sling, because she's very important to the storytelling of the Raw Women's division right now.
I think if she can stay on TV and remain some type of character on TV, they'll want to do that, because she's been a central figure on Raw really since last year after Mania. Like after she got the title when Rhea got hurt, it feels like she's been on Raw, not only whether she's been a champion or not. She's held the title for the majority of this past year plus, and whether it be a tag team title or the women's titles, she's been a champion. But even when she hasn't been a champion, she's been involved in multiple segments with Judgment Day stuff. So she's been one of their most important figures in as far as week to week storytelling. And so if they can keep her on TV, even if with the injury, I'm sure they'll want to do that. But not being able to wrestle is still gonna just impact a lot of stories they wanted to do, because she was going to wrestle Nikki. She was, like you mentioned, she was probably going to wrestle Io at some point. She was probably going to have a big match at SummerSlam. And now most of those are off the table, I would imagine, at least for now. Like, hopefully she comes back. She can be.
Yeah, hopefully she could be a part of like Evolution, because the whatever she was going to do with Nikki Bella and the Bella Twins, that was going to be one of the top matches. And I think they still could, if they're especially if they're doing something with the Bella Twins challenging for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. I seen Ryan Lambert who says, do they relinquish the tag titles? I think they have the easiest solution for them in that regard, where they can just basically have Roxanne be the replacement. They can freebird it and say Roxanne is her replacement for the tag team titles, and do Roxanne and Raquel versus the Bella Twins at Evolution if she's out for that long. I'm hoping it's not going to be that long, but that would be the easiest solution to do.
Yeah, that would be one easy way to do it. I think you could also just do it. Like, we know she has the shoulder injury, so you can't really work around of, oh, she's going to try to compete, and then she just, like, never tags in and Raquel just loses. Like, we know she's injured, but you could tell the story of that, of, like, she just wants to work through it, she wants to compete, and then, yeah, she just, like, never tags in, and Raquel just loses the match. And Liv kind of gets baby-faced out of that a little bit, though, of she's trying to fight through the shoulder injury, and then Raquel just never tags her in. But I think Roxanne being the replacement would make the most sense in that regard, because Roxanne's there, and we know that she's part of the Judgment Day. We know they have the tension with Liv and Roxanne. You can continue this stuff with Dom. Dom's like, oh, let Roxanne take your place. Like, it's okay. Like, you've been working so hard. You know, you've got this injury. Like, Roxanne can prove and step up. Like, you can make the best out of a terrible situation, because the situation does suck with Liv getting hurt, considering how important she is to a lot of stories right now, honestly.
Yeah. That was kind of the only kind of like black cloud on an otherwise solid episode of Monday Night Raw. Not the greatest, but solid episode, I thought, overall for the show, because Liv is a big person to lose out on. We also got what I thought was a very good segment with Bayley and Becky Lynch. Bayley cutting a great promo about trying to make the best out of a bad situation that she was put in with missing WrestleMania, how she doesn't do it for just one night. She does it for every night in buildings like this. That was a great way to kind of babyface her. And Becky Lynch, she's just a genius. She got the most heat of the night coming out with the Chicago Bears gear.
Yeah, she just borrowed Seth's jacket. She's like, what kind of... Seth couldn't troll, because, you know, he's got to wear... He's a pretty tame outfit by Seth Rollins standards, honestly. Yeah. But Seth couldn't troll, so he's like, here, Becky, you wear this jacket, so Becky could troll the Green Bay crowd. I respect it. I respect it. It was very nice. And they set up a title matchup for next week's Monday Night Raw from Columbus, Ohio. You also had Lyra kind of teasing that she's going to get involved in that. So maybe we get that triple threat we was talking about last week for Evolution coming up, since they put this matchup on Monday Night Raw instead of on Night of Champions. They did also announce after AJ Styles got a win over JD McDonough, it's going to be AJ versus Dom Mysterio at Night of Champions for the Intercontinental Championship. And yes, I will shout out Zeno Hour for bringing that up. Xavier Woods had the outfit of the night, dressing like Silky Johnson of the Haters Club. That absolutely ruled. It's a shame that he only got a commercial break segment and a little backstage segment where who knows if it's going to lead to anything, because they've been teasing Grayson Waller and Austin Theory splitting for about 5 months now, and nothing has happened.
Not 5 months. It's been a year. It's been over a year now. It's ridiculous how long they have been teasing
I believe you.
A-Town Down Under.
But this is what Joel and I have talked about. Of like, they just do these little things, and then it makes you believe something's gonna happen, and then maybe something happens months later, or nothing happens. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, we're just kind of doing that, and that was that. But they just give you these little breadcrumbs, and maybe you have enough breadcrumbs to make a sandwich at some point, or maybe you just eat a couple breadcrumbs and you're wondering where the rest of them are. Like that they love doing this. Like at some point maybe A-Town Down Under will split, but it's like you've been teasing this for, like you said, a year. Like I thought 5 months was egregious. Like, who knows?
Nah,
if
it's been a year.
I believe
it's been a year, and yeah, I said this before and I'll say it again. Triple H's form of long-term booking, it's doing the same story beat over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, and just being like, you see, it had a big payoff, and the payoff is never worth how long he's dragged it out. It's outside of the bloodline. It has never been satisfying when he eventually pays it. The bloodline and Judgment Day from last year's SummerSlam are the only times long-term storytelling has worked out for him in a positive light. All of his long-term storytelling for underneath, mid-card to undercard stuff the payoff has never justified how many weeks he's dragged it out. And I think it's going to be the same case with A-Town Down Under, unfortunately for them. But is what it is. I think that was most of Monday Night Raw last night. We do also have in the description, so very quickly, I won't give you a chance to fake like what you saw. NJPW Dominion was the worst show of the year for New Japan Pro Wrestling because it featured 90% of House of Torture. The fact that they decided, the fact that they and I feel like the reason why there's been so much negative conversation about this show is because the direction they're going has got no one happy. I feel like we're right back to the beginning of 2024 when Okada and Ospreay left and the roster wasn't ready for the two top guys to leave the company, and you're just left with a whole bunch of young guys who are still trying to find themselves. And then you got the House of Torture as the top heel faction. You went right back to that after you gave a logical conclusion to the House of Torture with the Bullet Club War Dogs kicking them out of the Bullet Club, beating them in the Dog Pound Steel cage matchup. You decided to revert all of that and put two of the worst workers in New Japan in the group with Don Fale and Chase Owens in the group to open the show in one of the worst openers of the year. Then you put a guy that had been established as an up-and-coming kind of ace of the junior heavyweight division in Doki, who had an excellent IWGP junior heavyweight title reign last year, and you decide to bring him back and put him in the worst faction in the company?
Let me tell you how pissed I was when Doki was the mystery person, because they do we've got a partner because we faked the shoulder injury with Kanemaru, we've got a partner, and I heard the horns, SP3, I heard the dun-dun, and I thought it was time to jack off. I thought it was time, and then no, it was not. It was Doki, and I was like, what? Why is it Doki? No. Where's my guy? Where's Jack Perry at? I thought we were about to jack off on all over the New Japan roster. Thought the scapegoat was back. No.
You thought you were going to ejaculate all over Osaka Joe Hall.
And instead it was just Doki. And I wasn't disappointed that Doki was back. I like Doki. But
me too.
It made no sense. Like, this dude was the biggest babyface in the junior division going into Wrestle Kingdom, and then unfortunately got hurt in the match against Despy, and now he's just a heel? Why? What are we doing? It made no... Like, I was double disappointed. You left me limp, Gato. Completely limp. Blue balled the hell out of me. I was ready to ejaculate. And nope. You gave me Dookie instead.
He went right. He, you know how great his junior heavyweight title reign is. For years, when he was in Suzuki-gun, I was calling him Dookie.
Yeah,
because he was like the
everyone
most
was.
worthless member
Yeah, he wasn't good.
Suzuki. He was not good,
Yeah.
and then he improved for over a couple of years. By the time Suzuki-gun ends and he joins up with just 4 guys, he was actually a good guy on the roster. And then they elevated him to junior heavyweight champion at a time of need when they needed to take a break from Hiromu Takahashi. El Desperado got hurt and he needed time off, and he held down the title. He actually had some good performances against Show, of all people. You get Master Wato coming back and helping him, and he puts on a great match with Master Wato in the fall last year. He was so hot, and El Desperado challenging him but that one injury made him join freaking House of Torture. I said yesterday when we did the review on True Hill Heat, that killed all the vibes of the show. Like Jay News didn't even enjoy seeing Tai Chi and Tomohiro Ishii win the tag team titles in what I thought was a very good matchup against United Empire, because the whole vibe of the show was killed dead by Adoki joining up with House of Torture. And Takeshita and Boltin Ole, they had an absolute banger matchup for the Never Openweight Championship, with Boltin Ole winning his first title, Takeshita getting prepped up to have a deep run in the G1, and then they just followed those two very good to great matches up with the worst New Japan match of the year. Evil with a freaking women's football team size of seconds in his corner. He had 9 dudes in his corner to verse David Finlay, and they just completely washed the guys that beat them in the dog pound steel cage matchup. This was the least brutal dog. That was the worst dog collar matchup I've ever seen in my life. It's the worst dog collar match I've seen in my life. It's the worst New Japan match of the year. David Finlay, they elevated him to a top guy this year with winning the New Japan Cup, being a leader of the Bullet Club War Dogs, and then they kind of just washed all of that away with putting over the House of Torture. With 3 of the worst workers in modern pro wrestling, Don Fale, Chase Owens, Yujiro Takahashi, 2 of which can barely walk. When Ren Narita and Evil are your best heavyweights in this group, you're just it's pitiful. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And then they basically them allowing AEW to put Gabe Kidd in the Death Riders completely killed the crowd, where the crowd wasn't enthusiastic about the rematch with Gabe and Tsuji. Mind you, they just watched one of the worst matches of the year, so they were already dead to begin with, but they couldn't get up because they're confused on Gabe Kidd's alignment because he's with the Death Riders and got a Death Riders knee pad on. Then he whiffs on a senton as Tsuji's hanging off the top rope. They had a very good matchup, in my opinion, but it's well below what they did in Osaka just 4 months ago. And then it basically comes out to be a one-match show because Goto and Shingo, they didn't allow the crowd to die a miserable death in that main event, and they put on a phenomenal performance in the main event. But that was Dominion. I'm so depressed.
Couldn't even be excited for House of Torture. I couldn't. Yeah, Ryan says, Jeremy's not feeling it when I don't sound energetic about Jack Perry. Nah. I'm very low energy today, guys. I'm sorry. I had the energy at the beginning of the show, and now the COVID's kicking in. The thing about it is you're supposed to rest. It's the way to beat this is just rest and fluids and blah, 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 blah. And I'm yeah, what if I did a 2-hour show about wrestling instead of resting? That sounds way better, right?
Way better.
Wonder why you're not getting better, dummy. Stupid. Bless my wife, who who tries to tell me like, you know what you should do? You should actually rest. I'm like, yeah, maybe not. You know, what if I just don't do that? You know.
I'm gonna talk about wrestling with SP3 for +2+ hours. The answer Zeno Hour in the chat is I want to get SP3 in trouble. SP3, who is a better booker this year, Triple H or Gato? Scott D'Amore.
Scott D'Amore's got an unfair advantage. He's just got to run a bunch of super shows. That's kind of unfair.
Scott D'Amore is the answer.
We do have a super chat from Avala B, who says Vanilla Fumble.
I'm Vanilla, baby.
Is what we call it when we try to call ourselves by someone else's trademark name, especially when they have shared the locker room. I saw that video yesterday. You know, did you see this, SP3? Do you know what
Oh,
he's referencing?
Diamante!
Yeah. So when TNA posts this video, I click it and I'm thinking Diamante is returning to TNA. I'm like, oh. And then I click it and I see Tessa Blanchard in a Los Angeles Bulls Jordan jersey. Like, what the fuck was this? What are we doing? It's a Lakers colors, but it's stylized Bulls and it's a 23. So it was terrible looking. Like it was terrible. And then they got bullied into deleting it, as they should, because why would you think this is a good idea? Like, who told you this was a good idea? And you did it with like the one person that you knew people were gonna have an issue with. Like, I'm not saying this would have been better if you did it and it's Masha Slamovich. Like, I'm like, oh, okay. You wouldn't have a reason to do it if it's Masha, but people would be like, all right, sure, Masha. We like Masha. We can maybe get it. Like, you did it with... You all got to help yourselves on this. Like, quit being stupid.
They never can help themselves. TNA is going to TNA.
Yeah, they really can't.
I just saw the post and it said 28 Diamante. I was like, oh, Diamante. And you know how the video can play without the sound going? I saw Tessa and I didn't even click on it.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be Diamante. I was like, what is Tessa doing? And I didn't watch it with sound either. I just kept waiting for Diamante to show up. I was like, is Diamante like confronting Tess? Oh, it's over.
No, it's
Okay.
the part. It's I think that's the name of her theme song, because it goes Diamante, Dante, Diamante, Tessa be the gold.
Is that the song? Is that how it goes?
Yeah, I don't want to get
listen to
copyrighted, so you know I'm very good at doing theme songs, so I won't go into that.
What are y'all doing? Can y'all try to be smart about these things?
No, TNA is gonna TNA.
That sci-fi deal's not gonna save everything.
It's not gonna be forever, guys. The sci-fi deal's not gonna be forever.
Well,
They're just trying. They're trying new things to sell those tickets for Slammiversary. You know.
You see, she worked in Mexico, Zeno Hour, so that's why.
Yeah.
That's why.
She had a Mexican husband at one point.
All right. I'm gonna go sleep. SP3.
Please don't do that.
Let everyone know where they can find you at.
You can find me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. I'll be live in about 45 minutes with Romeo for Rated Raw Review, giving you a more in-depth review of Monday Night Raw last night. We'll talk about Liv Morgan's injury. We'll talk about Asuka's return. And yes, we'll talk about some Bill Goldberg, because that's what people want to hear about. So check us out, Rated Raw Review, and go to the True Hill Heat Patreon, patreon.com/True Hill Heat. $3 a month gets you exclusive content. Right now, we got our Kazuchika Okada versus Kenny Omega rewatch series, where me and Jimmy Macaram are going back and watching. Jimmy is so committed, he has decided he didn't watch the video package from Wednesday's Summer Blockbuster because he didn't want to get the rest of the matches spoiled. He's only watched the first match. Me and him watched the second match. That's going to be dropping this week. And he loved it. He said it's one of the best 60-minute matches he's seen. He did not love it as much as I did. So he's very disturbed by Dave Meltzer's rating of it. So go and watch it.
Soon enough, folks. If you are not subscribed to Fightful Select, you should do that. And you should get into the In the Weeds Discord because we're going to start doing watch-alongs for matches
Worst of the weeds
than Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada. These epics that they're trying to have, no. We got the real epics, like DX against Brothers of Destruction. True epics out in Saudi Arabia. Yes, folks, get in the Discord for worst of the weeds.
Worst of the weeds, semicolon, Saudi classics.
Saudi classics. That's what we're starting off with. We're starting off hot with DX against Brothers of Destruction. That'll be coming soon, everybody. SP3, thank you for carrying this show as you always do. Everybody in the chat, I appreciate it. I apologize that I completely ran out of steam here in the last half of the show. Thank you to John Alba for jumping in. I'm going to sleep now. We'll be back tomorrow, maybe. We'll see what kind of condition I'm in. Bye, everybody.